Welcome to Prepare to Win. I'm Grace, and this is David Lowe, the automotive sales coach. And today we're going to walk through the power of self-examination.
You're going to want to stay tuned. Hey, I'm so glad that you're with us. We're going to talk about a power principle, right? Everything we do in this podcast, every episode is dedicated to living and working with excellence, right? Leveling up, whatever you're doing, becoming better at it, right? We believe a life in pursuit of excellence is one, it's a healthy pride, right? That joy, peace, and satisfaction. Today we're going to talk about self-examination and really relate it in a practical sense to the coaching we do at Automotive Sales Coach, right?
Sure.
So what is self-examination? I'm going to take you back some thousands of years like I always do. The Apostle Paul said, each person should examine themselves. And then we know that one of the famous quote, nobody knows exactly who said it first because it's been misquoted by somebody, said that an unexamined life isn't worth living, right? In other words, we want to constantly be reviewing ourselves.
Right.
Self-examination. So, view ourselves on what? Today, did I live according to my values? Mm-hmm. Now, we know that Ben Franklin did this 200 years ago. He had his 13 virtues. This is what I'm going to do today. Every day he woke up, what good am I going to do? What am I going to learn today? And he was focused on one virtue at a time, right? And then at the end of the day, he would self-examine. How did I do on it, right? The joke is, when he was on the humility, I was really humble today. I did a great job, right? Anyway, so there's this thing of self-examination. It's not enough to set the course, right?
Right.
You have to make sure you're on track to hit your destination. Mm-hmm. So self-examination is like a timeout. How did I like the daily one as I'm reflecting on my goals for tomorrow. My morning day planning now is at night, the night before, because I'm getting up really early to go to the gym and stuff. So I like to make sure that the night before I set out what I'm going to do, review my calendar, review the tasks, the projects, right, whatever. And that's a great time for me to say, how did I do today? Right? Did I live according to my values? Did I achieve my goals? Was my attitude and actions good? Where was I weak? Where did I suck? And where did I really excel, right? That's the only, that's like a self-aligning thing. It's like looking at your car on the road. Are you, where you're supposed to be? I think, what if you don't align? So self-examination is supposed to keep you on the road you want to be at, right? So we know that for salesmen.
Right.
We talk about areas of opportunity. What are you doing really well? And areas of excellence. What are you doing really well?
Right.
And areas of opportunity. What could you be doing better than you're doing? So area of excellence is, of course, I'm doing this really well. I got to keep doing that. Areas of opportunity. Holy crap, I wish I hadn't done that. I need to do better. And that's really cool because that means you can excel. So, Grace, you do this with salespeople in a real practical way, right? I think you call it the deal self-examination.
That's right.
So let's walk through kind of what you do with that and how you interact with, and how salespeople respond to that.
For sure. Cool? So, it really starts off with our BTTY, better today than yesterday, right? And how can we be better today if I don't know how I did yesterday?
Well, that's a good point.
Just what you're talking about. So
you gotta have a benchmark, right?
Exactly.
A measuring stick,
Right. So I hold these meetings with these new sales consultants, and really it's just like that. As we're developing these habits, what are things I'm doing really well, and what are things I need to improve on, right? Excellence, opportunity. Right. It's been really cool, and I've really seen a pattern of the people who want to take that personal responsibility, and then we go through their deal, and they say, hey, I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this. They're having more success, and they're still finding ways, well, how about this? And they ask some questions, and how can I improve maybe the way I told this story? Or how could I improve the way I led my customers? I still have phone calls all the time.
So let's go back. Let's go back to that. So you're actually walking them through. You're making them go back to start.
That's right.
And walk through the last deal they did, or a deal, right? 1, 2, right? So it's like they're redriving the route.
Right.
And now they're redriving the route as a spectator, kind of looking at themselves, how did I do? And you're going right down the sales process. And what I think I heard you say is that at each step, they're evaluating based on the training or the best practice, the success model they've learned.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so keep going
Exactly
on that.
right. So yeah, like you said, we go through have a deal that they either sold or one that wasn't sold. I let them pick a deal that you would like to talk through.
Yeah.
Refresh yourself beforehand. Then I have them tell me, so tell me about this deal. And it just starts off with a conversation. Well, I had so-and-so come in, they called in, made an appointment. They walked me through everything. How did I meet them? I walked them through what did you learn at each step? How did the step go? And I allow them to tell me. And we set the stage for this is an area to talk about what you're doing well and how can I continue to get better.
Yeah.
Right. I know that the more I do and the better I am, the more I make.
So,
So
yeah.
who wouldn't want to talk through that formula, right?
Yeah, so that self-examination, you're just facilitating it then.
Right.
You're not examining them. I'm telling you what you did well. I'm telling you what you did wrong. You're saying, let me facilitate. Let me walk you through this
Right.
as you examine your steps. That's the power, isn't it?
That is power.
So somebody else can tell you, but when you discover it, holy cow, it's like a light bulb goes off. You're like, oh, I
Right.
can't believe I did that, or I can't believe I said that. And it's kind of cool that you're there for coaching at that moment.
Right.
To remind them of the success model, right? What
That's
what
right.
does a good job look like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as we're walking through, the cool thing is, like you said, I asked, hey, how did the trial close go? And I say, well, I mean, it went okay. And then that opens the door for some additional conversation.
Yeah.
Is this an area that maybe they're not quite hitting their capacity on, or maybe they're not doing it to the full potential that they have? And so walking through that and allowing to have that coaching moment,
Yeah.
they kind of get to be refreshed on here's why I do this step. Here's why it serves me. And they get to kind of lead themselves through that discover.
So the self-examination is not simply for actions.
Right.
It's also for uncovering areas of opportunity to have in training. What things have I mastered? What things am I still struggling with?
Right.
Not just what am I doing and not doing, not just what am I saying and not saying, but as I'm going through this, I might find patterns of areas. The reason I'm not doing or saying what I feel like I should have is because maybe the depth of my knowledge and understanding isn't there yet.
That's right.
I got to go back to training,
That's
right?
exactly right.
So having you there to coach. I think everybody needs a coach.
Right.
So we talked
I do.
about, yeah, right. We talked about, I think we all do. I think it was a few episodes back about accountability. Nobody's their best. I'm sure we're going to talk about it again. It's such a powerful principle. But a coach is an accountability partner. That's
Right.
really all it is. A coach help you. If you don't want to improve, the coach can't do anything.
Right.
So the coach doesn't improve you. The coach is a facilitator for your improvement.
Right.
That's why coaches in professional sports are so powerful. Every player wants to be the best. And so all that coach is doing is help them see there's your area of excellence, there's your area of opportunity, let's go after it, right?
Right.
So it's fantastic. So how did that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, it just leads right back to those areas of personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. I'm there, like you said, to facilitate that evaluation. How am I doing? And then it's up to them whether they decide, you know what, I'm going to continue to strive and work on my areas of opportunity, or I'm just going to ignore it and kind of focus on what I can do well.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah. So we do have two types of people. We talked about this in an episode not too long ago.
Yep.
Leaders and followers.
That's right.
And a leader takes responsibility. A follower is going to go, yeah, I did the deal examination and not do much with it.
Right.
A leader is going to accept responsibility for their own improvement. And when you look around, people who succeed, excel, make a difference, are a benefit to others,
Right.
typically make these decisions to get better in these areas. They don't need somebody, they need a coach to remind them, but they're the ones who are going to have to actively decide every day what they have to do to become better. So that's
That's right.
very good. Let me ask you this. How are most students, how do they respond to the self-examination? Positive or negative?
Very positive.
Very positive.
Very positive, right? Because once again, we are the ones that are facilitating it, and it's really a conversation. How are things going?
Yeah.
And like we said, those that choose to take leadership and take that personal responsibility, they've got that clear game plan of what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
Right. And even if they're not quite ready for that step, or they don't think they're ready to take that step and just have the conversation, it still tunes them to be intentional on what they're doing the rest of that day, week, month, etc.
That's cool. So I've said for a long time, we go into dealerships, into businesses, and what do your employees want? right? Do they know what a good job looks like? They
Right.
want to know that, right? They want to be treated with respect, valued, appreciated. We know all these things, right? One thing that many leaders don't realize is their team members want accountability. It seems like everybody's trying to get away from accountability, and that's true because I think a lot of the other parameters haven't been decided what's a good job look like. But what a good job looks like becomes more and more clear. People want to be told, how am I doing?
Right.
What am I crushing? And
That's right.
And what do I need to do better? I feel like it's one of the missing ingredients in management and leadership is this positive accountability, our pillar
I think you're right.
number 3 in leadership. So it kind of fits together, doesn't it? Personal self-examination, leadership, set clear and high expectations, hold them positively accountable, and of course, love unconditionally, right? Pillar 4.
Give that feedback.
Coach, correct, encourage, feedback to help inspire. So today we're talking about a principle. I just don't think anybody's ever really become great without this principle, which is the principle of self-examination. How am I doing? Am I living the life that I want? Am I living the life according to the values that I've set, the things that are important to me? Are they coming out? Am I becoming the person I want to become? Are my actions and attitudes the ones that I want to relive and to, right, over and over? And so we want to remind you that if you want to be a benefit to others, if you want to be a success, we call success living with excellence. It's hard to define success in material things, but you can define it in peace of mind, joy, peace, and satisfaction. You can define it in healthy pride, and we know that comes from pursuit of our best self. Self-examination is a tool and a principle that will help you live that way.
And like we said, that humility and taking that humility, it's power. There's power in saying I'm really great at what I do and I can get better, which is going to lead you to living with that joy, peace, and satisfaction, right?
Yeah,
Even just this morning, I had a phone call from a sales consultant and said, hey, I'm coaching this newer sales consultant on leasing. How does this go again? Did I do it right? And even he is taking that, hey, how can I make it better? Not only for himself, but also for the sales consultant he's teaching.
Isn't that
right?
fantastic?
There's power in asking for feedback and how am I doing? People want to know, like you said, they want to know, what does a great job look like? If I'm not quite up to par, how can I get there?
That's right. And self-examination is a tool that serves us.
That's right.
So I think we thank you for joining us for this episode, and thanks for following this podcast, joining in whenever you can, and liking this podcast, sharing it with friends. And I think what you're probably going to see if you watch or listen to more episodes is how interdependent these principles become.
That's right.
How one feeds the other. Is that right? And so in pursuit of our best self, we might as well pursue the principles that drive excellence into our life. They're timeless principles. They're free to everyone, and everybody who seeks them will find them. Seek is an active word, though. And one of the things that we're doing with this podcast and every episode is dedicated to helping seekers find the information they need to level up to become better today than yesterday. So thanks for joining us. I'm David Lowe, the Almost Sales Coach. Grace Lapoy, we thank you so much, and good selling.